Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching. What's going on, freaks? I guess the dog camera is not working. Let's see. Maybe it'll kick in here in a minute. Who knows? Don't know. Don't know if it'll kick in or not. Well, how's everybody doing? Just seemed like there were so many people doing the Lori and Chad stuff. I just was like, so I got kind of a later start, and then my dad, let's see. He wasn't feeling good, so we go over there, and it turns out he hasn't been taking his, he keeps refusing this one medicine. And he said, no, I didn't refuse that. But they have it on the record. And it's like one of the most vital ones that he's supposed to be taking. And he hasn't been taking it since the 17th. So it's like, okay, Dad, you know. It's crazy. I don't know what the hell's going on. So we went over there. That's why I'm late. Great goofies. Great. I always like it when people get gifted memberships that will become a member after that instead of being on the gifted membership train. You know, like every single month. You know, you sort of hope that the people that get gifted will stay and want to become a member. That's kind of the point of gifting it to, you know, maybe they'll say, hey, you know, it's cool being a freak. You know. I don't know if you know, I thought maybe we could do that or stuff, but if the numbers here are going to be right below 100, I'm not doing a show. Okay? Just can't do it. I'm going to go start working on something else. I don't know how to fix YouTube. Put out a video today. Got less than 4,000 views so far, which is terrible. You know, I don't know. I don't know how to fix things. I just do the videos and hope to God YouTube does something, but they don't. Anyways, let's look at the, this is the verdict today if you missed it. All it is it's actually when we were told that there was a verdict, and then it comes back, I cut out all the other crap, so it's only about 13 minutes and 57 seconds long. No, I know what you're saying, but you said now you can get them gifted. I'd rather have the, you know, other people that... Yep, very good news. Here we go, here we go.
The parties are present. The jury's not present. We were informed about 45 minutes ago that the jury has reached a verdict. In the event that the verdict is not guilty, this trial will conclude. In the event that there's a guilty verdict, we need to move on to an aggravation phase immediately after the reading of that verdict. I've given the parties proposed aggravating circumstances, instructions, and proposed verdict form.
Well, she decided, well, just listen to this, but she decides she doesn't even want the aggravating phase, so stipulates to everything. To me, that's admitting that you did it.
The state and the defense both have a chance to review those.
Yes, Your Honor.
Are there any additions or corrections from the state?
No, Your Honor.
How about from the defense? The defense did email my staff requesting an additional paragraph. The defendant is not required to testify or produce evidence of any kind. The defendant's decision not to testify or produce evidence is not evidence of any aggravating factor, which I did include in the bottom third of page 3. Given that, are there any additions or corrections?
No, Your Honor.
Are either the state or the defense requesting any other additional instructions?
No, Your Honor.
If there's an aggravation phase, does the state plan on introducing any testimony or exhibits?
Testimony, I believe, likely.
Introducing any testimony or exhibits?
Yeah, we know.
Testimony, I believe, likely from 2 family members. We will limit it.
Yeah, Lori Daybell's being charged with, the first one was with her children. I guess you're answering for that person up above. The first one was for the children. She was found guilty. This one was for Charles, and now they're going to do the attempted murder of Brandon Boudreaux coming up. Like real soon, like in May.
Don't plan on doing openings, just presenting testimony and then argument.
But hey, guys, we're doing another show here. I know it's late at night, etc., but, you know, there's not very many people watching. But if you have the ability to support the channel, that would be great. Thanks. See if we can get to half of a goal or something.
All right. Would the defense anticipate presenting any evidence?
Your Honor, can we just stipulate to that? I mean, the statute says there's only one punishment for this crime. What is this? Why is there an aggravation phase for this specific count?
Yeah.
Much like the guilty verdict, the jury in Arizona has to find whether or not there's any aggravating circumstances.
I know, but what difference does it make if there's aggravated, if the
In
punishment?
addition, the jury would still need to find that if it's a guilty verdict, whether or not it's a dangerous offense. Until it's found as a dangerous offense, that sentence that you're talking about wouldn't be triggered. So I think we need to have an aggravation phase regardless. So would you plan on presenting any testimony or evidence in the aggravation phase if there is an aggravation phase?
No, but could I just stipulate to it or not? That's my question.
You can stipulate to aggravation and you can stipulate to whether or not it's a dangerous offense, but I think you should probably wait until we read the verdict to do that. So I guess it will, depending on what the verdict is, we may take another break. If there is an aggravation phase, are your witnesses here yet?
No, they are not here yet, Your Honor. The next of kin are, from my understanding, about 5 minutes out.
All right, we'll wait a few more minutes before we take that verdict. Please let me know when we're ready to come out.
Yes, thank you.
Anna says she's 10 minutes away, but she's...
All right, back on the record, State of Arizona versus Lori Daybell, CR 2021-001-704. The parties are present. I'm going to have my staff go ahead and line up the jury to wait in the hallway for a minute.
Oh, I didn't even think to check. Thank you. Like this.
All right, the jury is present. Please be seated. Do we have a foreperson? Who's the foreperson?
Yes.
Has the jury reached a verdict?
Yes, we have.
I'm going to ask you to hand that to my courtroom assistant. I'll ask the clerk to read and record the verdict.
In the Superior Court of the State of Arizona in and for the County of Maricopa, State of Arizona versus Lori Daybell, CR 2021-001704-001, verdict count 1. We, the jury, duly impaneled and sworn in the above entitled action, upon our oaths, do find the defendant, Lori Daybell, as to the crime of count 1, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder occurring on or about July 11, 2019, guilty. Signed, foreperson. Is this your true verdict? So say you one and all.
Yes.
On the court's own motion.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because from July to like November, or not even that, like October, July to October of that 1 year, let's see, we had Charles, JJ, Tylee, Tammy, Alex, all killed. I think Alex was murdered. I don't give a damn what what the coroner said. I think whatever created the blood clots in him was created by a drug that they didn't detect at the time. And then Brandon Boudreaux was also shot at. So 6 people involved in this little, associated with this cult. 5 actually were killed, and 1 Alex missed. And he also missed Tammy Daybell the first time. I mean, you got to admit, like, that is crazy, right? That's why Alex, I think there's almost no chance that Alex didn't, the coincidences are too great. There's no chance that he just died randomly. I mean, it would be like 1 in a billion. Okay, we're talking about think about it like this. Alex Cox tried to shoot Tammy and missed. Tammy then gets killed in her house by being strangled. And then when law enforcement started going, whoa, there's some weirdness here, and they exhumed Tammy Daybell's body, the same person that Alex Cox shot and maybe even killed the second time, then he dies the day after the body of Tammy Daybell was exhumed. Okay? Does anybody think that that is a coincidence? That just seems absolutely ludicrous that he died just randomly on that day. Yeah, who said it? They weren't going to get it right, Hunter. You sound like one of those clowns again. I'm about to get rid of you. You were bugging me yesterday, and you're bugging me today again. The way you word it makes it sound like the jury wouldn't get it right. I told you, Gray, that the jury would get it right. I'm so happy about that. My God. Let's see. Who died the day after? I just told you. What do you mean, who? What? I just went through the whole story. Alex Cox died the day after Tammy Daybell's body was exhumed. And he tried to kill her once, and maybe the person who actually strangled her or suffocated her or helped Chad suffocate her on another time. There's no way that that's a coincidence. I mean, I guess, technically there's a chance, but are you kidding me? I mean, then you start wondering about other cult members. Were they a little bit nervous about Chad, I mean, a little bit worried about Alex, that he was going to, Yeah, of course I'm worried about somebody like that. But so what? That doesn't mean I don't think they're going to get it right. Good Lord, man. You guys are just, it's like, I can't say the alternative possibilities Because if I do, you get idiots like Hunter here that go, "Oh, Gray! Oh my God! Oh, do you hear Gray? See, I got it right. You were, It's like, no, I'm throwing you out the alternatives. I still think it was stupid that the prosecutor said that even if you deem that the shooting was justified and the first shot, the second wasn't. Well, then that's all on Alex. But then you go, okay, well, they planned it. So then that was all planned, and that's why he did the second shot. That's how you could look at it, but it was dumb to bring up. They didn't need to say that, and I think that might even be why it took an extra, it should have been done in 30 seconds. Walk back there, you think guilty, okay, bye. Right. He was some sort of, okay, let me get back to this, though.
On the court's own motion, I'll go ahead and ask the clerk to poll the jury.
Juror number 1, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 2, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 6, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 7, is this your true verdict?
Like, what was it, like 9-3 guys or something? I mean, it was crazy.
Juror number 8, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 9, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 10, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 11, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 12, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 13, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 15, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 16, is
Thanks,
this
Sandy
your true
Sue.
verdict?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to ask the jury to retire to the jury room for just about 2 minutes. I need to discuss something with the parties before we determine
I've never seen anything like this coming up, but it's pretty interesting.
whether you're done or not. So the admonition still applies. Please go to the jury room for a few minutes.
All right for the jury.
I think like Zulema Pastines is a little bit more active than people believe.
All right, please be seated. The jury is no longer present. I'll ask the defendant, you indicated earlier perhaps a willingness to stipulate to aggravating factors. Is that something you want to do, or do we want to go through this aggravation phase?
I'm willing to stipulate to it, Your Honor. All that it is the dangerous phase. Is that correct? There's only one statute there's only one sentence.
Well, the jury would need to find, first of all, whether or not this is a dangerous offense.
Of course.
First. Secondly, whether the offense caused physical, emotional, or financial harm to the victim, or if the victim died as a
I
result.
mean, what? Lori actually has a good point here, right? Like, they just found her guilty of conspiracy to commit murder, and everything that this guy's saying right there. Of course, that's what the jury's going to come up with. You get what I'm saying? It's like, of course, that's what they're going to do. So let's just get, let's get through this. Yeah. Stipulate.
Of the conduct of the defendant caused emotional or financial harm to the victim's immediate family. And then thirdly, the offense involved the presence of an accomplice. If you're willing to stipulate to all three of those, we can do that. If not, we'll bring the jury back in.
I'll stipulate to it, Your Honor.
All right. You understand that if you stipulate to this instead of a jury finding, well, let me back up. You understand the jury would have to find these aggravating factors beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes.
All right. And do you understand that if you stipulate to these factors instead of a jury doing it, I could also find additional aggravating factors at sentencing?
Sure.
Has anyone forced you or threatened you in any way to get you to stipulate to these factors?
No.
Has anyone promised you anything to get you to stipulate to these factors?
No.
Have you had any drugs, alcohol, or medication in the last 24 hours?
No.
Do you agree that pursuant to the jury's verdict of guilt, that this would be a dangerous offense because a deadly weapon or dangerous instrument was used?
I'm stipulating to it.
You agree that that this is a dangerous offense?
Correct.
And you're further stipulating that as a result of your conduct, at least the victim or the victim's family suffered emotional or financial harm?
Absolutely.
And you're also further agreeing that the offense involved the presence of an accomplice.
What Hunter just said, I just timed out Hunter and Chuck D's. These are trolls. I think they're trolls. Okay. FSC figure skating coach. No, I have ad revenue on here just to have some sort of extra income that comes in. Okay. It doesn't matter. Thank you for becoming a member, but that wasn't true what they just said. There's still ads for channel members. Okay. If you're a YouTube premium member or something, there's no ad revenue. And to be honest with you, if every single person that was on YouTube was a YouTube premium member, it wouldn't be worth doing any shows or any videos, because the ad revenue from premium members sucks. Okay. I mean, it's horrendous. So it wouldn't even be worth doing YouTube anymore for anybody. And so I always think it's weird when people complain about ads and so forth. Just click off of it, get off the ad. You know, it's a way to at least, try to help support the channel while it's playing. You know, maybe realize that when we're doing these live, when I make my videos, for example, you guys, there is no income on that video other than people maybe watching ads. That's it. Okay. So when you go, I don't want to watch it, I don't want to watch it. Well, you're just kind of, just spitting in my face, really, or any other person that you're watching. And I don't care if you don't want to watch it. Let it play for a second, hit the, skip ad thing. It's just weird when people always bitch and moan about it. Now, a minute ago, we had this person up above say, Gray, you ever serve on a jury? Yeah, that's one of the trolls from last night. Because there was a show a long time ago where, I've been to jury duty where you show up and you sit around and you wait for somebody to call your name. And, if you don't get called, they send you home and you don't have to do it again. I've done that a couple times, but I've never been picked to actually be on a jury because there was nothing going on those days. Okay? I also think it's like I can't really do jury right now because if you're self-employed and there's no backup plan, there's nothing available to backup, there's no backup Grant Hughes that does a show, I can't do it, right? It's just impossible. That's what I'm saying. All right. So, I don't know. You get these trolls because in a video a long time ago, I might have said something like, God, have you seen the people that sit around and waiting around to serve on a jury? Some of these people are ridiculous. They show up in sweatpants. They just sit around eating pizzas and, it's like they don't really give a damn what they're doing. And, I actually try not to have to serve on a jury because I know that I can't do it if it's like a week, or if it's 2 days, I could probably do it. But I think what the dumbest thing is the jurors should be paid a hell of a lot more money. They should get like $250 to $300 a day. There's no reason they can't afford to do that. They pay these experts, etc., tons and tons of money. They could afford to pay the jurors. If they get picked as a juror, they get money. And when they're done, they're not like absolutely crushed. Imagine being a juror on the Idaho 4 case where you got to sit there for 3 months or whatever the hell it is. What if you had and you get $10 a day, but what if you had a job that you were self-employed, you owned a food cart or something? All of a sudden you get crushed because it's your civic duty? That's bullcrap. None of those guys took a pay cut. The juror, the judge, the attorneys, or anything like that. Why should the people that have to go in there get just screwed financially like that? So give them a wage that's, like a high wage for that time. I think it would be great. There's no reason for it. It's just idiots. I don't know why the hell people aren't doing that. I think a lot more people would be able to do it. Okay? But hey, while you're watching here, can we try to reach half the goal tonight as a group? We're currently at 1/20th. All right, I know it's a later show, but I need your guys' support to get to the, try to do something. We have one new channel member that did it themselves, no gifted channel memberships. We're at $11.97. We have no coffees, no nothing. We're just absolutely getting killed because I dared go do a later show and try to do something else for a little bit. All right, so let's try to, if you guys are out there and you have the ability to help support the channel, that'd be great. Thanks.
At least the victim or the victim's family suffered emotional or financial harm.
Absolutely.
And you're also further agreeing that the offense involved the presence of an accomplice.
Yes.
Is the state satisfied with at least the victim or the victim's family suffered emotional or
I'll look at her answer to this one.
financial harm?
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's excited about that. That's the one time she says, absolutely, when the families have suffered emotional and financial harm. She goes, absolutely. And then the one about Alex.
And you're also further agreeing that the offense involved the presence of an accomplice?
Yeah, the offense involved the presence of an accomplice. Now she says, she kind of pauses.
Yes.
So she says yes. Wow. So basically right here she's admitting to all of these things. What do you type in that? What does that mean, Timothy? I don't get it. Yeah, but she's admitting to committing these crimes.
Is the state satisfied with the colloquy?
Yes, Your Honor, it appears it's knowing voluntary. Currently made.
All right, the court does find that the stipulation to those three factors was knowingly, intelligently, voluntarily made. I will accept the defendant's stipulation. At this time, I'm going to bring in the jury.
Isn't that amazing, though? Like, she just went, yep, forget it. I'm stipulating to it.
Release them from the admonition. Before we do that, well, as my staff's lining up the jury, do you want to have a sentencing date within approximately?
Thank you, Sassy T, I guess. I was going to say Sass It, but.
Approximately 30 days, or do you want to wait until after the next trial to be sentenced on this matter?
What does the court prefer?
It doesn't matter to me. Maybe you want to talk to your attorneys or advisory council about that. We don't have to do it right now. You can do it in a few minutes. Please be seated. The jury is present again. Members of the jury, you are now released from the admonition. This concludes your jury service. I want to thank you for your jury service in this matter and your attention in this matter. The admonition is lifted, meaning you can talk to anyone about any aspect of this case that you want to at this point, but you also have the right to not talk to anyone about any aspect about this case. I just need to take care of a few more matters, but if you want to wait for me in the jury room, I'd like to thank you personally, and then you can be on your way. If you don't want to wait for me, that's fine as well, but you are released to go at this time. All right, thank you.
It was amazing how many people for 5 hours just kept staring at this live stream. I would just check in every once in a while just going, my God, you guys, can't you just hear about it later? Like, I mean, I don't know. It was weird. 6 hours of staring at a screen that looked like just that little symbol, the seal there, just like that, right there. There's only 13 minutes of actual meaningful time. No, you don't have to do stuff. You don't need to put that in there, Timothy. Stuff like that. Okay. Just, I mean, you know. I'll be the one that's saying, hey, everybody, if you could help support the channel. And you can ask people to as well, but you don't need to be keeping track like that. Okay. Anyways, look at this.
Do you want to talk to your advisory councils briefly to discuss whether or not you want to proceed to sentencing or wait until after the next trial?
If we could just wait till after the next trial, Your Honor.
Okay. So I'll hold off on ordering.
So after the next trial, she'll be sentenced for both of these. What a weird, I mean, why was that even an option?
Pre-sentence report until we resolve the next remaining case. I've already set the dates, and we have a status conference in mid-May on that. So unless there's anything else from the state's perspective.
Yeah, I don't know. It was like 6 hours at FSC. I mean, I would go over there and there was like 8,000 people watching Law and Crime for 6 hours and just staring at a screen, hoping that they catch it right when it happens. You know. Found some junk files. Yeah.
There you go.
From anything else from your perspective?
Nope.
All right, we'll be at recess on the.
But Timothy, I don't mind if you're helping try to get the support for the channel, but you don't need to be so very like micromanaging it. You know what I mean? Just enjoy the shows, hang out, that kind of thing.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, they got a lot of weird stuff over there. And I know in Arizona during the Jodi Arias trial, she was found guilty. Then they had the penalty phase right away the first time, and then what's crazy about Arizona is the jury came back deadlock. Not deadlock, but like 11-1. So it was a hung jury on the death penalty. It was 11 for death. One person, one idiot, said, nope, I don't want it. And so what's weird about Arizona is they have a second bite at the apple for the penalty phase. So they literally had a full, complete trial again, just for the penalty phase, and it was also a hung jury on that one. And then at that point, death is taken off the table, and then the judge is the one who gives you the sentence, and she got like life without parole, something like that. It was crazy though. I don't think that's weird, isn't it? Like just totally seem sort of against the double jeopardy thing, where you literally have a second bite at the apple for the penalty phase. Like, okay, it seems like once the first one's a hung jury, you just go straight to life without parole, but instead it wasn't that. It was like a whole new trial again. It was kind of interesting just sort of watching the interaction over here. She starts laughing with the attorney. And I think she just didn't want Kay to be able to say anything. Get up there again. Apparently the jury was really kind of moved by Kay's comments, her testimony. The second trial for Jodi Arias didn't have anywhere near the same fanfare as the first one. The first one was, I've never seen anything like it, even to this day. There's nothing close to that. Like I would say, how there's 6,000 people, 20,000 sometimes watching Lori Daybell's live streams? I think there would be over 100 on streams. 100,000 people if it was Jodi Arias. Looks like Google Earth shut down. Huh. Have to open up that again. I don't know who that is. Who are you talking to? Timothy. I don't see anybody with that name. Yeah. Yeah, I don't even see any hidden comments. That person probably had me blocked. I even have it on live chat. Have I gotten paid lately? I don't know. Have you? I mean, why would anybody ask that question? I don't get it. Yeah, it's cool that they got justice. Looks like we did get a coffee from Lisa Valenzuela. Anyways, I was thinking of covering, starting going over the West Memphis, or not Memphis, West Mesa in New Mexico. If you guys are interested. It's going to be some reading, so it's going to be a real tough night. Going over the newspaper articles. You know, actually, I think I've done this before. Hold on, West Mesa. Yeah, it's right there. Look how far up it is. I did this like, I mean, let's look at some of the dates. I wasn't even putting the dates over here. So this is really like incredibly long time ago. West Mesa Bone Collector. Like we talked about it, we didn't really go over it though. There's like maps and things, but might take a while. I'm going to have to move this all the way down to the bottom. Get it back into more recent. Was today Tuesday? Anyways, man, what a crazy night over at my parents' house. I mean, Jesus, he wasn't taking one of his vital medicines for 5 days. And he said, I didn't do that. And so I don't know what the hell he's doing. And that's like why, that's why he's not feeling very good. It's stupid. He's like, I want to feel better, but you're not. Yeah, but you. Oh, Jesus, it's absolutely crazy. I don't know what his mind isn't working the same either. So hopefully that starts working better in the future. Anyways, right here in it's like she doesn't remember stuff either now. So it's kind of like they both can't remember stuff. So here's where the this is 2004 here, and this is about the time that bodies were being put in this area, but they weren't discovered until 2009. That's the thing. So it's interesting looking at this, and look at it now. I mean, look at that. Look how crazy this is. See, it was a development area. Look at this. And even when we first covered it, I think it was back in like probably 2020-ish. That's what it looked like then. Probably not. I bet it was even before that. Probably. Probably wasn't that one, but like that's 2018. This is a memorial they built. There we go. We got that one. That's right. All right. So right now we have 0 gifted channel members, and we're at 1/12 of the goal. So if you guys have the ability to help support the channel, that would be awesome. And no, we don't have 500 people watching. We have about 110. That's not a real thing again. Yeah, the trolls do the thing. They think it affects my channel when they do this little thing where they make it the fake views. It doesn't though. I contact YouTube about it and they just go, oh yeah, no. So they just waste their money doing it. It's like they're so stupid. They don't even get it, Anyways, I'm just going to go back in time. And this is one of the only ones I found where the person that's found later was reported missing. So this is February 2nd, 2006. So this one says, missing person. This week, a missing person profile is a woman who disappeared in 2003 at the age of 21. Police say foul play was involved in her disappearance. Name, Monica Candelaria. Age, 24. As that's how old she'd be now if she was still alive. Description, Hispanic female, 5'3", 105 pounds, has red hair and brown eyes. She was last seen in May of 2003. Candelaria's mother reported her missing when she went about 2 weeks without seeing her. Police say that Candelaria, 21, at the time was last seen near Artrisco and Central. Hey, thanks so much, MK. Very kind, very kind. Let's see where this is. So she was seen by Artrisco and Central. Is that a... Oh, it's... Okay, so this is probably going to be the right one since it's right there. Central and our... Okay, so right in this area. So maybe this is a place... I mean, I don't know why she was here, but... So we'll put here where her name is... Monica Candelaria. So there you go. That's where she was last seen. She lived a high-risk lifestyle, so probably a sex worker, numerous narcotic arrests, and possible gang affiliation, police said. Okay, and so she's probably a sex worker. I think a lot of times these serial killers, you know, so everybody who's a sex worker probably has a pretty difficult life and has drugs and there's things, but that doesn't keep the serial killer away from them. They're the same as any other sex worker that a serial killer might choose. So maybe that's exactly what we have here. Yeah, we covered it a long time ago. That's why it looks familiar. I mean, not the case. We just kind of talked about it one night on a map. You know, it wasn't like we went deeper into it. So that's her. So it says she lived a high-risk lifestyle, had numerous narcotic arrests and possible gang affiliation, police said. But yeah, so that was one of the only ones that I found the name of before bodies started showing up. But let's see what this one's 2008. You know, it's weird. Weirdly, that girl here looks similar to the one that we were just looking at, right? I mean, let's see. She's got the dark hair. I could definitely see that being that one. Hey, thanks Lisa L for gifting a membership to Betty Ping. Up above we have 7 Beauties, Paul Ayers, Chris Hoffman, Ali Kohler, and Denise Adams. Welcome. All right, so this says, for 3 years, the skeletal remains of APD case. So I don't know if these are part of it or not, but let's, you know, could be. 42007 have been known among detectives as Just Move It Girl. That's the shirt. Why does one of them have no hair and the other one has hair? That's all they know of the woman who was found dead on the West Mesa 3 years ago. So this is another... This person was found in 2005. I wonder if this one turns out to be part of the whole group. I don't know. Now detectives know a lot more. They now know what she looked like. This week, Bernalillo County Sheriff's Department forensic artist Mary Brazos completed a construction of the woman's skull. It's the first time the Albuquerque Police Department or Sheriff's Department have done such work. Detectives are hoping the reconstruction of the woman's face and the t-shirt she was wearing will lead them to a real name. I hope the reconstruction is close and it looks like her, Brazos said. We need to give the girl a real name. It's time for her to go home. The woman's body was found by hikers in a remote area of the West Mesa in February. I wonder if that's, let's see, does it go on to the next page? That's D2. Should be, oh, so that's the artist reconstruction. The shirt was most likely handed out during a walking, running, and cycling event in Shinley, Arizona in May of 2004. So it's interesting. I mean, so I don't know if this person is one of the ones, but it's interesting that this person disappeared in 2004, which is exactly the same time that almost every other one of the victims found there was that they disappeared. Detectives were able to get a list of 3,000 women who ordered the shirt. They have yet to make contact with all of them. Detectives got a break in the case in recent years when a mitochondrial DNA match was made by the FBI to a woman who died in San Juan County car crash in 2002. Mitochondrial DNA matches relatives together. The other woman could be a sister or a cousin. The only problem, police never determined who that woman was either. Jeez. Probably, I don't know, maybe they weren't legally here or something like that. I don't know. According to reports, the unknown woman had stolen a Chevrolet Monte Carlo. So here's what's crazy. So the other woman that they found was related to this girl. That person stole a Chevrolet Monte Carlo, driven it head-on into a Chevrolet Cavalier. The stolen car caught fire and the woman's body burned. Police were unable to identify the woman, who was between the ages of 14 and 23. Brazos said she would like to she'd like to do a reconstruction of that woman's remains too. Man, that's crazy. Jesus. Right, so you got that one. Now we're going to go to the 2000. So this is about a year after that last article. Body count at 10. So they're just finding bodies all over the place. And I just started the articles when names were being discovered. I'm sure there's articles where first there's bodies found, etc. The body count keeps climbing. Police unearthed remains of a 10th victim Monday afternoon on a partly developed patch of the far southwest Mesa, the site of what Police Chief Ray Schultz said was, without a doubt, one of the largest crime scene investigations in the city's history. The victim total includes the remains of a 4-month-old fetus whose bones were found with its mother's. There are 10 individuals so far, and possibly more, Schultz said. Victoria Chavez, who disappeared in 2004, see how they're all the same date, that 2004 time frame, appeared in 2004, is the only victim investigators have identified. Learning the identities of the remaining victims, learning the identities of the remaining victims so detectives can close the net on the potential suspect is the top priority of the investigation, Schultz said Monday. To expedite that process, authorities are enlisting the help of the FBI to assist the Office of the Medical Investigator, Schultz said. A team is using cadaver-sniffing dogs, aerial and satellite maps to comb the site for human remains and to develop leads. Archaeologists from the University of New Mexico also are assisting. And that archaeologist thing made it pop into my head. I don't know if you guys are following it's unrelated to this, but the developments of them genetically engineering and creating dire wolves that went extinct in 10,000 years ago. And they took the full genome. They were able to find that in fossils or some bones they found, and they made a whole copy, and then they used the modern wolf and then changed the DNA of the egg or whatever, and boom, they created these wolves. They're puppies right now. They're like 6 months old, but they're huge. They get over like 150 pounds, massive. And they're actually talking about how the next thing they're going to do is do the woolly mammoth. we're moving into the Jurassic Park phase here, you guys. Yeah, here, I'll show you a picture of that really quick. Let's see, are dire wolves back? Let's see. Right, look. I mean, it's pretty weird. Don't call them dire wolves. Colossal Biosciences, the biotechnology company from Dallas, Texas, that wants to de-extinct the woolly mammoth and dodo, doesn't care what you call Romulus, Remus, and Khaleesi, just that they're here. We're going to call them de-extinct dire wolves. You can call them proxy dire wolves or colossal dire wolves, or you can call them gray wolves with 20 edits that recreate functional dire wolves, because apparently the genome of the dire wolf is really similar to the gray wolf, but they changed the genetics by editing those certain portions that were different back to dire wolves. Isn't that crazy? I mean, it's just like, that's insane. I would be all for creating about 20 more Einsteins. What about you guys? Anyways, there you go. Unrelated, but I thought I'd throw that out there. But hey, you guys, we're having one of those massive lulls, so if you guys are out there and you have the ability to help support the channel, I know it's a late night, but we're just trying to keep things moving along for the month. I got caught up doing some family stuff earlier. All right, let's see. 1, 2, page 3. The chief remains steadfast in saying detectives believe the same person is responsible for burying the bodies near 118th Street and Dennis Chavez Southwest between 2000 and 2005. See, that's why that other woman may be related. One case police are interested in, he has said, involved a prostitute who was slain in late 2006 in a southwest Albuquerque trailer a few miles from where the remains have been found. The suspected killer in that case was fatally shot as he was moving the woman's body. Well, that's interesting. So it's possible that the killer and all the dumpings, or whatever you want to call it, stopped after that guy was killed too. So isn't that interesting? That in 2006 there was a slain prostitute, and while he was in the process of moving her body, he was killed. Yeah. The suspected killer in that case was fatally shot as he was moving the woman's body. Police said at the time that they believed the killing was not that suspect's first, and that they were looking into his possible involvement. What's interesting about that is it's 2006, but most of the victims disappeared in 2004. So maybe he switched spots too. Let's see. Another case detectives are looking into is that of a well-known pimp who died of natural causes in 2009 and who had pictures of missing prostitutes in his home. Although identifying the remains is a slow process, the chief on Monday went as far as calling 8 of the victims Jane Does and 1 baby doe. Investigators still haven't determined the manner of death or any other victims. What we need to do now is learn about the victims, their lives, and who they were last seen with, he said. During the past several years, detectives have compiled a list of 24 women who were either confirmed as or suspected of being prostitutes and would have been reported missing since the mid to late 1990s, the chief said. Chavez's name was on the list. The investigation on the Mesa began February 2nd when someone called police to report some bones in the area. All the remains found have been within an area of about 30 yards by 30 yards. The chief said approximately 100 acres police are searching was a barren stretch of desert 5 years ago. Since then, a planned development still unfinished led to grading and leveling. KB Homes owns the property and had partially developed the area. The developer has been helpful, the chief said. Schultz declined to say how much dirt had been moved on top of some of the remains or whether any of the evidence has been found with the bones. Any other evidence has been found with the bones. All right, well, there's that one, and I'm going to keep going through these. Yeah, I guess that is. So I guess they already they identified all these different women here. So here's, don't these cases deserve a deeper look? A friend of mine whose husband works for a local TV news station told me last week that when the identity of a second woman unearthed from the mass grave on the southwest Mesa was released, he, like every other reporter, tried to lock down the requisite interview with the woman's grieving family. The relatives said no. They were angry, my friend said, because they had never forgotten that 4 years before the TV station had refused their plea for a little airtime to help them find the missing woman. I don't know the reason for the station's dismissive stance then, but I can guess, just because they're sex workers. And that's exactly why they do that. Gina Michelle Valdez, 22, wasn't big news to them. She wasn't a blonde-haired, blue-eyed... I mean, how many times have I said this exact same thing? She wasn't a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, all-American college student, inexplicably snatched from the nice part of town. No, Valdez lived and likely died on the dark, desperate fringes where death comes more easily, less lamentably. In her brief adulthood, she had amassed several charges, both here and in Arizona, for drug possession and prostitution. Her last arrest, on the 4th of July 2004, was for a charge of aggravated assault. Which one is... Hold on, let me check something out here. I want to see if they're even guessing at the right people here. Right, we're saying Valdez. Yep, that's one of them. Huh. Gina Michelle Valdez. She disappeared on September 22nd, 2004. See, but I don't think she's been identified yet here. That's what's interesting. Or maybe it's one of the new ones that was just identified. No one cared. Some editor must have... Is that A2? What did it say over here? Yeah, page A2, so it's called Cases. There it is up at the top. Let's see, whether it ever showed up again. Except for those who loved her, who knew she was more than her rap sheet, more than someone had fallen too far, too fast. She had mattered to them, even before she became Jane Doe number 8, a dead, pregnant woman and one of 13 bodies and counting, buried in what has become the biggest crime scene in Albuquerque's history, the repository for an apparent prolific serial killer handiwork, and a gruesome soundbite for CNN, ABC, Fox News, and other national media. By the way, just how many bodies need to be dug up before the Albuquerque Police Department is comfortable with the term serial killer? Just asking. The TV station certainly isn't alone in its easy dismissal of society's less thans. During my days as a cop reporter at the Albuquerque Tribune, I remember being admonished by an editor to remember that crime was only news if she could imagine it happening in her own backyard. Of course, her backyard was situated in a swanky Saltillo tiled enclave outside of Santa Fe, short of tax evasion or insider trading schemes that didn't leave a whole lot for me to cover. So as was typical of me, then I ignored her. It always seemed to me that we journalists owe it to the public not to make such swift and elitist judgments for fear we might miss a truly compelling story about a truly remarkable person. Granted, that's typically not the case for a majority of those whose lives end in violence. Still, you can't help but wonder whether the body count on the Southwest Mesa might not have gone so high had someone besides the families of the lost taken a second look. At least one woman had, though. For several years, Detective Ida Lopez of the Albuquerque Police Department's Missing Person Unit had been collecting the names and faces of women who disappeared into the rough world of prostitution, drugs, and violence. Yep, so we just had one of those other moments again. And a minute ago I said, hey everybody, we're trying to, if we can get to half the goal tonight, at least it'll be something. We're still about 50 short of half. So if you guys as a group like this channel and the fact that we cover some other things sometimes, I would appreciate your guys' support. I hate having to bring it up, but that's just the reality here, you guys. I'm sorry the show was later than usual, but if you guys have the ability to, I would appreciate it. Alright, let's see. Over here it said, for several years, Detective Ida Lopez of the Albuquerque Police Department Missing Person Unit has been collecting the names and faces of women who disappeared in the rough world of prostitution, drugs, violence, then disappeared altogether. Gina Michelle Valdez and Victoria Chavez, the first women to be identified from among the remains on the Mesa, were both on that list. That's interesting. I've included a list of others, all gone since 2001, and I added a few more, including Teresa Reyes, a 17-year-old bipolar Albuquerque girl last seen in her family, Southeast Heights, some in 1998. Hey, thanks, Sarah Williams. She's another one of those missing persons whose case gathers dust but no leads. Go ahead, Google their names. You won't find much except family-generated blogs and websites maintained by various missing persons organizations such as the Charlie Project and the North American Missing Person Network. They're out there somewhere, and maybe they're out there on the Mesa. Either way, maybe it's time to take a second look. Yeah. All right, let's see. What do we got here? Huh? Who's Sarah? I don't know, this guy's this hunter guy's about ready to get removed. So here's another one. Cold cases reopened after bodies found in desert. In the desert outside Albuquerque, hikers have sometimes stumbled upon human remains partially buried under the hardy scrub and hard-baked dirt. But few people could have imagined the crime scene now emerging. The bones of at least 13 people have been uncovered on the site of an abandoned housing development. The grisly discovery last month caused authorities to reopen dozens of cold cases involving missing prostitutes, some of whom vanished as much as 20 years ago. Since the bones come to light, forensic experts, detectives, anthropologists, and medical investigators have raked tediously through the mounds of dirt for the next sliver of bone or clump of human hair. Police believe one person or group of people is responsible for the slayings, but they have been reluctant to make comparisons to any existing serial murder cases. We don't want to limit our investigation, Police Chief Ray Schultz said, calling the scene one of the largest and most complex ever investigated by his department. So far, only 2 sets of remains have been identified: Gina Michelle Valdez and Victoria Chavez. Let's see, but detectives are reviewing cases involving dozens of women who vanished from the city over the last 2 decades. All of them were suspected of being drug addicts and prostitutes. Of particular interest are 16 women reported missing between 2001 and 2006. The 2 bodies identified so far were Michelle Valdez and Victoria Chavez, both women who disappeared within months of each other in 2004. Chavez was 28 when she vanished, leaving behind a daughter. Valdez was 22 with 2 children and another on the way, so she was the one that was pregnant. All right, let's go to the next one. I don't know, we haven't talked about anybody in 98. All right, 3rd West Mesa victim identified. A 3rd woman has been identified as one of 13 bodies found buried in the West Mesa, and she was friends with 2 of the other victims, family members said Tuesday. Detectives went to the home of Diane Wilhelm on Tuesday evening. I think everybody kind of knows everybody around here. Yeah, I don't know what you're referring to, though. I have no idea what you're talking about. Was it a different article, or the one about the lady in the car accident, or I don't know. I'm reading the articles, not looking at the picture. You mean this lady over here? I don't know, it doesn't say anything about 98. It just... Anyways, detectives went to the home of Diane Wilhelm on Tuesday evening and told her dental records confirmed that her daughter Cinnamon Elks is among the dead. Now we know, said Wilhelm, who said she had believed Elk was dead since she disappeared in 2004. Let's see. Elks was 31 at the time. Yeah, those are just names that author came up with. Those aren't all victims. You know, every one of those people that was on that wasn't a victim. It was just Hey, thanks, Marilyn. That was very kind for the PayPal. Thanks, Gray, for all your hours over the past few years of your sharing, your always thoughtful analysis of true crime cases. Yeah. I think you're on Rewind or something, Zozo, because that article that had the pictures was way back here. It was like, I don't know if it was that one, or let me just try to find it now. This one, right? I mean, these are just random people. Let's see. Okay, so these ones here, I don't know if these ones haven't been identified yet, but let's see. So This one in here, Monica Diane Candelaria, is one of them. Let's see, Darlene Trujillo. She is not one of them. That name is not one of the ones that was identified. Sonia Bernadette. I mean, this is an article from like 3 back. Let's see, Sonia. That also is not one of the ones that was found. Monica Diane Candelaria is. Jamie is. I think. I mean, that's what I was looking up. Jamie Barella. Oh, wait. These are possible victims over here. So let me see that other name again. Darlene Maria Trujillo. Okay, she's a possible victim, but she's not one of the ones that was identified. Yeah, like some of these are ones that, let's see what this one is. Cinnamon Elks, that is one. We just read that one. Leah Rochelle, that's one of the possible victims. So it says, prior to 2009, Detective Ida Lopez constructed a list of missing Albuquerque women with ties to the prostitution and drug addiction who had gone missing between 2001 and 2006. 10 were later found buried at West Mesa. Also, 9 women with similar backgrounds remain missing. So he probably had multiple sites, you know. So some of these other people up here, let's see, Virginia Ann Cloven. That's one of the ones that they identified. Julie Cindy Nito. That's one of the ones they identified. How about Doreen? She is... what's the last name? Marquez? Yeah, that's on. She's one of the ones identified too. So, yeah, it's crazy. These are all in this article, and they're just people that were already on a list that turned out to be ones that they identified. Let's see. Chantel Waits. She's on the possible victim list. I think that this list is actually generated from this person who's been collecting the names, and a lot of them were the ones identified, and some were never found. So there's probably a second location, I would think. Maybe that's in 2006. It's possible, because you know what? These are all people that went missing in 2004 that are in this spot. The ones that were identified. So I would think that there's another place, and believe it or not, let's see, some of these other ones that are on that possible victims are people that went missing in 2005, 6, etc. So there might have been a different place. You know, interestingly, had they not killed that one guy and followed him, like put a tail on him, they might have found a second location where multiple other bodies were located. Wasn't that crazy? Yeah. Man, we got a tough crowd in here tonight. Let's see. Now we know. So, okay, the names of all 3 women were on a list of women. So this is probably that same list that we were just looking at, right? Who disappeared between 2001 and 2005. Exactly. That's crazy. The names of all 3 women are on a list, right? And then I knew something was amiss, Wilhelm said. She said she called police, but was told that as an adult, Elks had a right to cut contact with her family. See how lame that is? Wilhelm said she called several times before anyone told her to fill out a missing person report. Nobody cares about these girls that are out there on the streets. Police spokesman John Walsh did not confirm that Elks had been identified and did not comment on the case, but Police Chief Ray Schultz, has said searching for missing people who lead a criminal lifestyle is difficult because they often don't want to be found. Okay, now there's two more. I guess this is kind of related to the last one. Nito and Elks. Let me see if there's any. For particular interest are 16 women reported missing. So that's on that lady's report. Missing between 2001 and 2006. Elks, Nito, Valdez, and Chavez were on that list. I mean, that's pretty interesting, right? That list that was on that other article, I guess the one that Zozo was pointing at, those are people that this one person was collecting, and almost every person that was found and identified was on that list, and that list was developed without them finding anything. That's the person had the list. Chavez was about 28 when she vanished, leaving behind a daughter. Valdez was 22 with 2 children and another on the way. Elks was reported missing by her mother and a roommate, and Nito was last seen by her cousin. The remains, including Valdez, his fetus, have all been dug up from an area that has been razed for a housing development. Schultz said more than 24,000 cubic yards of earth have been moved during the excavation, which started in February with a hiker's discovery of a single human bone. This is a little bit like the Long Island serial killer, like just kind of out there, and they find a body during the look for Gilbert, and then, oh my God, then you stumble upon all the rest of them. This is obviously a very large crime scene, and we still have a lot of work to do, he said. While 9 of the bodies unearthed are complete or nearly complete, Schultz said 4 are not. Investigators are using heavy equipment and rakes to sift through the dirt for the remains. Now we're going 10 days later. Alright, so now family and friends and others gather to remember and honor the victims found buried. Let's see. Let me move it forward. So April. Okay, police ID 2 women. Now that one right there, isn't that the one that we... Yeah, see, that's this one. See that? That's that one in 2006. It was in the paper. And this is the one that says, circumstances, Candelaria's mother reported her missing when she went about 2 weeks without seeing her. Police say that Candelaria, 21, at the time was last seen near Artrisco and Central. She lived a high-risk lifestyle, had numerous narcotic arrests, etc. So here she is, and that's 2006. And that whole time, she was actually buried in West Mesa. Police on Friday identified the remains of 2 more women. Police Chief Ray Schultz said the bodies of Monica Candelaria and Veronica Romero, both of Albuquerque, were the latest identified among the remains of 11 adult bodies and 1 fetus. Police previously had said they found 13 bodies. Police already had identified the bodies of Cinnamon Elks, Julie Nito, and Michelle Valdez, and Victoria Chavez, all of whom disappeared in 2004. A fetus was found with Valdez's remains. So let's see. Veronica Romero, she disappeared on February 14th, Valentine's Day, in 2004. And Monica Candelaria, she disappeared on May 15th, 2003. A fetus was found with Valdez's remains. Police had been excavating a 92-acre site since February when a hiker discovered a human bone. They had said they believed the remains were buried by one person. Detectives also are reviewing cases involving dozens of women who were suspected of being drug addicts and prostitutes and were reported missing over the last 2 decades. The 6 women whose remains have been identified were among those cases. Schultz said both Candelaria and Romero had prior arrests for prostitution. Candelaria was 21 when she was reported missing in May of 2003, and Romero was 26 when she was reported missing in February of 2004. Schultz said the process of identifying the remains was made difficult because many bones have been broken by heavy construction equipment used previously on the site for development, while others had been exposed to the elements. We think some of the remains were misidentified because of environmental conditions that were placed upon those remains. Yeah, I just said that, Timothy. Yeah. Alright, let's go to this one. Alright, here we go. Albuquerque police identify a 7th body. A 7th woman who with troubled history, whose remains were uncovered from an area razed for housing development on Albuquerque's west side, has been identified, Albuquerque police said Tuesday. Police Chief Ray Schultz said Doreen Marquez of Albuquerque was 27 when she was last seen in October of 2003. Marquez was one of 11 adults and 1 fetus whose remains were found on 92-acre site. So let's see. Doreen Marquez was last seen on October 10th, 2003. So 5 months after Monica Candelaria. Her past is similar to that of the other victims who have been identified. They were Monica Candelaria, 21, Veronica Romero, 26, Cinnamon Elks, 31, Julie Nito, 23, Victoria Chavez, 28, and Michelle Valdez, 22, whose remains were found with a fetus. The women who disappeared in 2003 and 2004 all had a history of prostitution. Many also struggled with drug addiction. Several were mothers. She did match the profile, Schultz said, of Marquez. The state Office of Medical Investigator used dental records to identify Marquez. Marquez had a record of 17 cases dating back to 1994 that included charges of drug possession and shoplifting, and according to the Albuquerque Metro Court spokeswoman Janet Blair, in 2003 she was charged with heroin and cocaine possession, and according to the court records. That was according to court records. Schultz declined to say how much Marquez or the other women, or how they died, saying that information would come from OMI. Albuquerque police have sifted through 40,000 cubic yards of dirt in the area, they say, in one of the country's largest crime scenes. Yeah, is that another one? Like the next day? Did we do this one? Doreen Marquez? Seems like she was already... Doreen Todd or two. She later had 2... Didn't we already do Doreen here? I don't really need to go through her. Alright, subdivision land become a memorial for murder victims. Let's see. We hope that... Yeah, so maybe this is her. Lori Gallegos, a close friend of 27-year-old victim Doreen Marquez, said the park means the women who perished won't be forgotten. So they turned that into a park. Yeah, you don't think so? Let me see. Okay, Doreen Marquez taught her 2 younger sisters how to make friends and do their hair according to friends and family. She later had 2 daughters of her own and was known to throw big, extravagant birthday parties for them. Marquez loved jewelry, name brand clothes, and had a great sense of humor. At one point in her life, she drove a BMW and lived in a nice Albuquerque home, according to Lori Gallagher, a close friend of Marquez. But in fairly short order, Marquez was in the throes of addiction, and then she was gone. Sometime around 2000, things turned around for Marquez, Gallagher said. She went through a difficult breakup and started using heroin to numb the pain, her friend said. All right, I'm going to make one last attempt for the evening. If you guys are watching the show and you have the ability to help support the channel, I would appreciate it. We are only at a quarter of a goal. I tried to get her on the normal time frame. Sorry about that, but I need you guys' support to, make things happen. All right, I don't want to have we're obviously not going to reach the goal tonight, but reaching half would be good, and we're not really that close. Marquez loved jewelry, name brand clothes, etc. Okay, so by 2003, Marquez's behavior had gotten very erratic, Gallagher said. She was 27 years old and would disappear for months at a time. Her children would often stay with their father or with Marquez's family in Roswell. She had resorted to the prostitution to feed her habit and make ends meet, her friend said. She had been arrested a few times and spent time in jail. She called me in October. In 2003 and said she was clean, but she just didn't feel right, Gallagher said. She was having a lot of issues. That was the last time I ever talked to her. In mid-February, what turned out to be Marquez's skeleton was found buried in a shallow grave on a partly developed patch of far southwest Mesa near 118th and Dennis Chavez. Family and friends had a strong feeling the bones belonged to the woman they loved. That changed Tuesday when Albuquerque police notified Marquez's family that her remains had been identified. Authority used a dental record found in the Metropolitan Dentation Center's archive. Marquez had gotten some dental work done during one of her stints at the West Side Jail on a drug possession charge. Marquez is the 7th victim to be identified from the Mesa. The other 6 are Victoria Chavez, Gina Michelle Valdez, Cinnamon Elks, Julie Nito, Monica Candelaria, and Veronica Romero. Let's see. Look at other states for clues. A hiker uncovered the human back then. 7 of the 11 victims have been identified. They are Monica Candelaria, Veronica Romero, 26, Cinnamon Elks, Julie Nito, Victoria Chavez, Doreen Marquez, and Michelle Valdez, 22. Okay. Go to the next one. Okay, it looks like the deaths of 2 of the West Mesa victims have been ruled homicides, according to the Office of Medical Investigator. I think it's pretty obvious that's what they all are. Autopsy reports were finalized in the past week and showed that Gina Michelle Valdez and Cinnamon Elks were murdered. The reports did not list a cause of death for either woman. Hey, thanks, wise child. On February 2nd, a woman who was walking her dog found what turned out to be human leg bone on the West Mesa. Detectives working the case believe the women were buried there between 2002 and 2006. The remains had been ravaged by time and the elements. You know what? I don't think that the 2006 is accurate, because you know the confirmed names that they found there are all between 2003 and 2004. The possible victims, they're 2001 to 2006, but the ones that they found, they've identified all of them, and those all disappeared in 2004. So I think he found another burial spot, and like I said before, that person that sounded like a pretty good suspect that they killed on his way to dump the body of one of the prostitutes that he killed, they may have, if they had tracked him, landed upon the new dump site. Detectives have begun to zero in on a list of fewer than 10 potential suspects in the case. Valdez's remains have been returned to her family. It was not clear whether Elks have. So this is, let's see, hold on. Those two were merely identified as being homicides, but they had already been identified. Hey, thanks, Lisa L. What are we at here? Let's see. I'm trying to figure out if we're at half. Let's see, 8. Yeah, we're like 25. Well, 25 short of half of the low end goal. The lowest. So Proxy Loxy got that. All right. So is she in there? Edwards. Yeah. So Selenia Tareen Edwards. She's only 15. That's crazy, right? 8th West Mesa murder. Officials are cautiously optimistic that Selenia Edwards may provide the final breadcrumb on the trail to the most prolific killer in Albuquerque's history. Edwards on Wednesday became the 8th of 11 Mesa murder victims to be identified, and she does not fit the profile of the other women, officials said. She was 15 years old when she was reported missing from it makes you wonder if this guy's a trucker, Is it possibly a trucker? Hey, thank you, Sandy Shirley and Zozo. All right. Yeah. And that wild. So this one came from Lawton, Oklahoma. And so she was a runaway. It's possible she went out on the street, though, to... she made it all the way to New Mexico, I guess. But anyway, thanks, Zozo and Sandy Shirley. Edwards on Wednesday became the 8th of the 11 Mesa victims. The other women found buried in shallow graves. Let's see. Let me read the other parts that are different. So it says... she was black and had no known ties to Albuquerque. So she's sort of an outlier, But when she ran away, did she resort to, being a sex worker, perhaps for a short amount of time? I don't know. The other women found buried in shallow graves near 118th and Dennis Chavez Southwest earlier this year were in their 20s and 30s. They were local women who knew one another and whose lives intersected through substance abuse and prostitution. They were white or Hispanic. When you have a case like this with a serial killer, there is sometimes just one oddball piece of the puzzle that doesn't make any sense, said one official who is familiar with the investigation. But we're hoping Edwards will be crucial to solving this case. Now let me go back. Okay, is this her again, or page 8? I want to know more about her. The other victims all kind of blended into the landscape, but Edwards may be unique enough to really help the investigation out. Detectives spent all day Wednesday and Thursday trying to sort out when Edwards came to Albuquerque, who might have brought her here, and who may have known her. Police have narrowed their list of suspects in the case to a small handful. Numerous search warrants have been served in the course of the investigation, including some in the past few weeks. Edwards has been listed as an endangered runaway on the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children since her disappearance. So she was already in the system. She had been in foster care in Oklahoma, officials said. She had not seen her mother since she was 5, and she never knew her father. In late April, police released a photograph of an acrylic fingernail that was found with Edwards' remains. Investigators hoped the unique work done on the nail would help identify her. And a few weeks ago, forensic experts completed a sketch of Edwards' face based on skeletal reconstruction. Finally, Wendy Honeyfield at the office of the medical investigator was able to identify Edwards through dental records. Nearly 7 months had passed since authorities last identified one of the victims. Now 3 of the 11 remain unidentified. So that's interesting. She ran away in Oklahoma. Let's see, where was that? So Lawton, Oklahoma. Sylania, Syllania Edwards. Yeah, that is really sort of interesting, isn't it? 'Cause that's way over there. I mean, how many miles is that? I bet that's like 800 or 1,000. That's only 471 miles. But yeah, so how did she get there? I mean, is this guy a trucker also? I mean, it doesn't sound like that intersection is really a trucker location, but maybe he, I don't know. Let's see. If we go to here, there's a highway, Highway 40. And Monica Candelaria was last seen here. I mean, wouldn't it be interesting if this guy's a trucker, and then when we go to towns, he then would, somehow rent a car, and then do what he's doing. Then he gets back in his truck. But sometimes, I don't know. But why would you take her? If you took her on a truck here, and then how did her body get there? So that means he would have to then rent a car and then put her in that one, and then that's a lot of work. There could have just been she was hitchhiking as a runaway, made her way to Albuquerque, and as a means of making money, she resorted to sex working and was also picked up during that. I mean, that sounds like a kind of a logical deduction. Alright, it's down to 1. Officials have identified 2 more victims of a serial killer who turned a patch of Albuquerque's West Mesa into a makeshift graveyard 5 or 6 years ago. Virginia Ann Cloven and Evelyn Jesamaria Salazar were both reported missing in 2004. They are the 9th and 10th victims to be identified. So Virginia went missing on June 5th of 2003. which is only 3 weeks after Monica Diane Candelaria went missing. Then we have Evelyn Salazar. Let's see. How come she's not on that list? That doesn't make any sense. Confirmed victims. Cousin Jamie Caterina Barella and Evelyn Jesus Maria Salazar, 27, both disappeared on March 26th. Wow, so they were together. Barella and Salazar were together on March 26th and disappeared. That's crazy. How would that have taken place? Or probably both. Let's read about them. Although that one I don't think has been identified yet. Barella, right? Virginia Ann Cloven and Evelyn Jesamaria Salazar were both reported missing in 2004. They are the 9th and 10th victim. Now only one of the 11 victims, I bet you that's Barella, right? 11 victims whose skeletons were uncovered earlier this year in shallow graves near 118th and Dennis Chavez. Forensic expert at North Texas University used DNA to identify Salazar and Cloven. Police say they've narrowed their list of suspects to a small handful. These identifications provide more important clues. I sure wish, let's see, Robert Cloven, Virginia's father, said he hopes that nearly completing the victim's portion of the West Mesa puzzle will help investigators get the killers. Okay, Robert Cloven reported his daughter missing 4 months later in October 2004. She was 23 at the time. Salazar's family reported her missing on April 3rd, 2004. She had last been seen about a week earlier. Salazar was also 23. Cloven and Salazar's names were among those on a list of missing women who had struggled with substance abuse and led shadowy, transient lifestyle that included prostitution. So were the names of Victoria Chavez, Julie Nito, Cinnamon Elks, Monica Candelaria, Veronica Romero, Doreen Marquez, and Gina Valdez. They were all local women. Many knew each other. Selania Edwards, a 15-year-old runaway from Lawton, Oklahoma, is the only one of the victims identified so far who does not fit that profile. She was younger, she was black, and she had no known ties to Albuquerque, and she was not on the list. Hamby said the work... the only reason these people were on the list is because they were missing. Yeah, well, it wasn't like this guy was working through a list, you know. Let's see, we are $20 short of reaching half the goal, you guys. Can we do it? Can the late night freaks make it happen? Hamby said the work of missing person detectives is compiling the list, which dates back as far as 2001. Without that work and without that list, we would not be as far along. Yeah, I mean, what an amazing thing that was. All right, here we go. Final Mesa victim is, yeah, that's her, Barella. So that's the cousin of Salazar. There you go, see. Her name was Jamie Barella. She was 15 when she was reported missing. Interesting, right? Another 15-year-old. I mean, that's a little strange, right? When she was reported missing in April of 2004. She is the 11th and latest of the West Mesa victims to be identified. Albuquerque police announced Tuesday that they have finally put names and faces to all 11 women whose remains were found in shallow graves at the West Mesa dumping ground of a serial killer. The first victim was discovered nearly a year ago at the site. Barella was last seen at a family gathering at an Albuquerque park with her 23-year-old sister, or cousin, Evelyn Salazar, who also had been identified as one of... So how did that happen, that one? Forensic experts at the University of North Texas plodded through months of tedious testing to identify Barella through a DNA match, authorities said. The long-awaited identification of Barella gives police the opportunity to accomplish one of the goals they set after a hiker found what turned out to be human leg bone last February. They get to give an 11th and final family definitive answer about their loved one. We have always said that the identities of the victims were crucial to the investigation, Albuquerque police spokeswoman Nadine Hamby said. Now that we have that portion of the puzzle complete, we are hopefully one step closer to solving this case. Police say they've narrowed their list of suspects to a small handful by constructing scores of interviews, chasing leads, serving search warrants, and other methods during the past 11 months plus. Barella's mother, through a friend, said through a friend that she was too emotional to speak with the Journal on Tuesday. Most of the victims' names, including Salazar's, were among those on a list of missing women who had struggled with substance abuse and led a shadowy, transient lifestyle that included prostitution. But Barella and another 15-year-old victim, Selenia Edwards, were not on that list. Yeah, that's crazy. They were both younger than the other women, who all were in their 20s or 30s when they disappeared. Edwards was a runaway from Lawton, Oklahoma, who had no known ties to Albuquerque. Those two are interesting. I think it's crazy. I mean, how did that happen with Barella and her cousin? They were together, and then somehow the same killer was able to get them together. Pretty weird. Why did they go to Missouri? Let's see. The more than year-long investigation into Albuquerque's infamous West Mesa burial ground moved to Missouri this week when APD officer and FBI agents searched at least 2 homes and a business in Joplin. Acting on a lead in the slaying of 11 women and a fetus whose bodies were discovered. Isn't that interesting that the Long Island serial killer also had like a toddler, like a little kid in that one. Served search warrants on the Irwin Photo Studio. Wow, let's see. Acting on a lead in the slaying of 11 women and a fetus whose bodies were discovered on Southwest Mesa last year, police served search warrants. So that's the guy right there that his studio was searched. Were discovered on Southwest Mesa last year. Police served search warrant on the Irwin Photo Studio and at least 2 residential properties owned by Ron Irwin in the Joplin area, according to the Joplin Globe. Irwin declined comment in a telephone interview from Fox Farm, whose Food Inc., one of the businesses he owns. Whole Foods is what it says. Fox Farm Whole Food Inc. Albuquerque police spokeswoman Nadine Hamby said the warrant had been sealed and would not comment beyond saying that police were following up leads in the case. No one has been arrested in the case. Police believe the same person or persons buried the women in shallow graves near 118th and Dennis Chavez Southwest between the years of 2000 and 2005. The investigation began February 2nd. I don't know why they say between 2000. None of the people they identified went missing until 2003 or 4. And they don't. Do they have other bodies that they're not telling us about? Hamby said the department had been hoping to wrap up the case earlier this year, but that police had to exhaust all leads in the case. Okay. Irwin's mother, Beulah Irwin, said the Journal that police questioned her and her home at her home in Joplin Tuesday. I can't imagine. I'm just absolutely terribly upset, Beulah Irwin said. I have no idea what it is or what's this all about. Hold on a second. I feel like my phone's ringing. Hello? Well, I know, but just there's people there. Haven't you called the front desk or? Well, I mean, is he really sick? He was doing okay earlier. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah, I'm not sure. It was my mom saying that Dad wasn't feeling that good or something, so I might have to leave here in a minute. Let me just finish this off here. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, that's going to be it, you guys. I don't know why tonight was such a struggle. Really difficult. 2016, 7 years later, that probably would have been pretty interesting, but anyways, I gotta get going. So thank you to the few that helped out: Mallory, Beavers, Wise Child, Sandy Shirley, FSC Figure Skating, Sassy T, Alley Cat, MK, Lisa, for the 5 memberships there. Lisa L, Sarah Williams, Wise Child, Lisa L, Sandy Shirley, and Zozo. And then we had Lisa Valenzuela Coffee and Marilyn Vroom, very generous there on PayPal. But anyways, thanks everybody. We'll see you guys later. Till next time, be safe. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector. Plug rejector, I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Grego's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temple fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody, talk to you later.